What is up, bestseller? Welcome into the Bestseller Playbook, where we talk about writing and selling books that last. I'm your host and best-selling author, Bob Wheatley, and today we're talking about endorsements. How do you get endorsements for your book? Now, before we dive into the tactics on how do you get an endorsement, maybe the first question to ask is why do you need endorsements? Why would that be important? Now, if you look at any sort of typically a nonfiction book, but it could also be something in the fiction space, you will notice at the beginning of books, first couple pages, you're going to see endorsements. You're going to see all these people that say, "This is the best book I've ever read. This is my boss. This is Rory Vaden, his New York Times bestseller, Take the Stairs." Shameless plug for you, Rory. But as you look at this book, you'll notice on the first few pages, he has probably a dozen or so of peers who are saying this book is worth your time. This is an awesome read. Also, on the back cover of Rory's book, he has a couple of folks. I see he has Dave Ramsey, he has Keith Ferrazzi, and again, they're the same endorsements that are on the front of the book, but this is somebody's at Barnes and Noble. They flip the book over. Hey, should I pick this thing up? Oh, Dave Ramsey says that Rory is worth the read, therefore I should read it. So the reason why you should get endorsements for your book is, like anything, somebody else's praise of you is going to have much more weight. It's going to go much farther in the eyes of the reader than your own praise. Obviously, right? If you say this is the best thing since sliced bread, then people are going to be, okay, eye roll, you're trying to sell me something. But if somebody else who has no dog in the fight says, yeah, this is a great book, then you're much more likely to believe that. You're much more likely to buy. So the reason why you would want endorsements for your book is giving the reader more permission to trust that it's going to be worth their time. The way that you do that is less through your own sales tactics. It's just by letting other people praise you, right? That would be the point of having endorsements. So now that we've established the importance of an endorsement for a book, how do you get them? How do you actually get those people to send you a couple sentences of praise? Number one, and this kind of goes without saying, but you have to ask. You have to ask. People are not going to call you. People are not going to be knocking down your door. Hey, can I please, please, please endorse your book? I mean, very rarely, right? They're going to have to be a really good friend that is very in tune with your story, with your launch date, all that stuff. For the most part, this is a favor. This is a personal friend, a mentor, a colleague. You are reaching out to them and saying, hey, I'm trying to accumulate endorsements for my book. Are you willing to help me with that? So, as you're stepping into that season, you're probably a couple months out of your book launch. Maybe you're in the sales and marketing season, right? What we always recommend is you should find your closest connection who is the highest in terms of cachet or notoriety in the marketplace. So, like, let's say you're a Rory Vaden, my boss, and you're friends with Dave Ramsey, which he is. Dave is he's a national brand, right? He's running a multi nine-figure business. So he is A plus when it comes to thought leadership. So what does Rory do? Rory reaches out to Dave Ramsey, gets that endorsement, and then it's sort of a snowball of sorts where once Rory, or in this case you, right? Let's say you land on your number one endorsement, where it is your closest relationship with the highest amount of notoriety. Once you have that, then you can leverage that endorsement to get other endorsements. You can say, let's say you're sending a cold text, email, voicemail, whatever it is. And you say, hey, so and so, hey, Tiffany, hey, Bill, I would love for you to endorse my book. It would mean so much if you would. By the way, here's an example of other endorsements that are going to go into the book. And then you insert that A plus relationship, somebody who does have a lot of cachet, notoriety, whatever your best relationship is, then that next person is going to be more likely to hop on the bandwagon, as they say. Because if they see a Dave Ramsey endorsement, they say, okay, well, Dave has a massive business, a massive reputation. If he is willing to hang his hat on this endorsement of Rory Vaden's Take the Stairs, yeah, then I'm probably good with it as well. So once you have the first one, which again, it has to be your closest relationship, right? It should, in theory, be the easiest one for you to get. You can then leverage that to snowball and get other endorsements from it. Now, I've seen books with one endorsement. I've seen books with seemingly 40, right? It's just like page after page after page. They never seem to end. Is there a perfect number as far as how many endorsements you need? No, right? Well, I guess if you're above zero, then that's going to be a good number, right? Just be sure to have some endorsements in your book. Start with the closest relationship with the highest cachet. Then you start doing a snowball to see who else you can get. Another thing to consider when it comes to these endorsements, and writing an endorsement takes time. It does. And so if this is truly a favor that you're asking somebody, which it is, they don't have a dog in the fight. They're not going to make money from this. They're doing this as a favor to you, as a friend, or maybe you had helped them in the past, but it is truly a favor. So how do you make things as easy as possible for them? Here's what you don't do. You don't just email them your book and say, this is the due date for the endorsement. Can you get it to me in 3 weeks? How big of a lift is that? Right? That is a big ask. So one way to make things easy, of course, you could provide other endorsements, just endorsements that other people have already given you, so people can kind of use that as a sampling to understand what other people are saying. But you could also write example endorsements. You could write them for them and say, hey, Tiffany. Hey, Bill. I'm so glad that you're willing to endorse my book. This would be after they had already made that commitment. Here are some different ideas to get the wheels turning. Feel free to mix and match, put this in your own voice, but this is typically what we'd be looking for when it comes to an endorsement. And it might be stuff about the book itself. Like, I love the author's writing style, like something about writing style. It could be about the content of the book. My favorite chapter was blank. It could be about the audience of the book. The person who needs this most is blank. So by providing some of those options for people, all of a sudden that task that felt really big, hey, here's my book, I want you to read it and give me an endorsement, it becomes very easy for them because, like, okay, I kind of get the idea. I don't need to read 300 pages in order to come up with 3 sentences for this book. So if you send them a number of different options for them to pick and choose from, oftentimes that really shortens the learning curve for them when it comes to the content of your book, just making it as easy as possible. Okay. So what have we talked about today? The importance of getting endorsements for your book. All books have them, right? It is a general best practice. Why should you have it though? It is to buy trust in the eyes of the reader. If other people are talking about you, that's going to ring loudest in the reader's ear. So yes, you should have endorsements, but then how do you get them? First, start with your closest friend. Then you leverage that into additional endorsements downstream. And finally, to make those other endorsements easy, give them prompts. Give them examples, give them snippets from your book, give them an outline of your book. You should do 99% of the heavy lifting. Make it as easy as possible for them to do this favor. And ultimately, it's going to be a favor to the reader because if they trust your endorsers, they will trust you. So I hope this video is helpful. If you have any additional questions when it comes to the world of books, it could be writing books, it could be selling books, it could be getting your book published or finding a literary agent, whatever it might be, leave me a comment on this video. I'll be happy to answer that question on future videos. And as we wrap things up today, just remember, the shortest way to a best-selling book is having a best-selling plan. We'll see you next time.